Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You're at the spot, the place, where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Good day to you. How you doing? Are you living your best life? Are you reaching for your highest and greatest good? Well, it's about time. And you can start with wellness, fitness, clarity, and realizing that over 50 is not the end. It's really a new beginning. Now, when I turned 50, I was liberated. I was just telling a friend of mine that, my sexy came back. I was unapologetic. You got to go with the ebbs and flows of the life changes and hormonal changes. But, I've done that 2 or 3 times before in my life. So it's not a big deal. But when you're able to have resilience, when you're able to bounce back after something that's tragic, when you have situations where you may have had one or more husbands, or you have disgruntled children, all of that plays into it too. So it's the mindset mastery. So we're going to talk to Ingrid Elise today about that and a whole lot more. And she's an author. She's a contributor in an anthology to 2 amazing books. So we're going to weave that in and out of the conversation. Let's welcome her to the show. How are you today, Elise? Miss Elise?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much, April.
Well, I'm so glad to have you here. And you're in the beautiful Monterey area. Brains, if you have ever come to California and, you had an opportunity, take that drive. It is so beautiful. Down that 101. Now, it's a little twisty and windy. I'm not a big fan of it in the wintertime. If it's really raining or if there's some snow. But again, if you got a good driver and some good snow tires, don't let that stop you because it is absolutely gorgeous. How long have you been in Monterey?
I've been here a little over 3 years now, and I love that drive, especially on a motorcycle. It's even better.
I know. I saw some people. I wouldn't do the motorcycle. I do a little sidecar.
There you go.
So tell my brains a little bit about you, Ingrid, and how you show up in the world.
Thank you so much, April. So I am 50, 54, and fabulous and living my best life ever. I live in beautiful Castroville, as you said, with my beloved husband and 2 adult children who are special needs children. And I have 2 other adult children's, one at college in Fresno and another one living her best life in beautiful Laguna Beach, California.
Down near me. Down near
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Lucky girl.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. But California, but do we pay for it or what? It is so expensive to live here.
Yes, it is, which is kind of why I moved out of Silicon Valley and yeah, and into the Castroville, the rural area, which is a lot more affordable. Obviously, some parts of Monterey County can get a little bougie and a little pricey.
Right, right.
But where I am, we're really comfortable and really happy to escape that fast-paced, high-energy lifestyle of Silicon Valley. Honestly, April, I was burnt out. I was burnt out. And now to move to beautiful 4 acres where I look out in the morning and there's the flock of turkeys and the deer and my 5 cats.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
totally different energy that I'm in. And I make no apologies for having the best life ever. After everything that I've been through, all of the challenges, and now I'm 54, I felt like when I turned 50, it was like a free pass to do whatever the heck I want now because my children are adults. It's not a get out of jail free card, is it? But it's a whole different sense of freedom that I have that I'm a grown-ass woman, and guess what? I don't owe anyone an explanation. I don't have to justify my actions to anybody. And I literally am living my best life, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And the environment is a big part of it, but it's also letting go of those toxic relationships, the toxic situation, the toxic environment, and coming to this beautiful place with a sense of peace and hope and in harmony with not just my environment, but my family, my new family.
Did you bring your sexy back? I did.
Oh yeah, Ingrid's got her groove back, you
So
know.
After you get over the hot flash, 15, 20 minutes later, the libido has kicked in,
It's
baby.
like,
Let me tell you.
whoa.
Exactly. And
And it,
people don't think that. They think, oh, 40 or whatever. But when you get in your 50s, you've got more years behind you than you do in front of you.
yep.
And you have lived a certain quality of life that you should relish in, that you should be so proud of yourself. Every blemish, every wrinkle, every scar, droopy boobs. You've had all
The
of that.
hair,
The gray hair, absolutely. All
still
of
the
that
hair.
is a
Yeah.
gift. There are people that are out here now in the world that don't live past 25. When do you find that you were your most vivacious? Is it now in your 50s, in your 40s, your 30s?
It's definitely now. April, it's now for sure. I mean, I look back onto my college years and there was definitely high energy, but there was also that element of manic behavior and manic mindset. Rush, 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 got to get through college and get a job and find a husband and all of those things. So it's really now where it's that fabulous meeting of the vivacious and the energy, but in a much more mindful and mature way. So I would say definitely now. The first couple of years of 50 was a little rocky, I'm not going to lie. It
Right.
kind of threw me a curveball, but now that I've put that behind me and I've mindfully navigated that and realized that reacting is not necessarily the healthiest form of dealing with
Absolutely.
crisis. It's responding in a mindful and mature way. So I
Absolutely.
would say now, today, here, now. That's all we
I had
have.
somebody today that tried to put salt in my vinegar. And I was like, really? And they were just going on, just typing, 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 typing. And my response was, okay, you win.
Yep.
You're not going to get a whole lot of dialogue from me. Is it really worth it? No. If you've got all this energy, you've got all this capacity, you've got all this space for the ugliness, there's no room for me because I'm bringing the sunshine when I come.
Mhm.
I don't want to be bothered with all of that. At 50, I realized to myself, just like you said, it's how you respond to situations. It's not that they're not going to arise, but are some of them even worth, getting upset about? No. Or are you smart enough and strategic enough to say, hey, I know how to dance around this. I've seen this before. There's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
So, Ingrid, uh, we're a little rambunctious, you said in your first years. I like to ask these questions. So, you had three husbands.
Yes, I have.
Some people can't get a date, and you got three husbands.
Third time's the charm, April. Third time's the charm. I got it
Absolutely.
right this time.
So the first time you had your aha moment and you said, this isn't working for me. Did you carry some of those same traits and characteristics and patterns to marriage number two?
Yes, I did. The real issue with my starter husband, who I love to pieces, we're still really good friends, and every time I go home to Australia, we always have lunch or something, and he's just a doll. The difference was in some of the core values that
Mm-hmm.
we weren't on the same page. We weren't even in the same book. He hasn't changed a bit. He's had no real growth. He hasn't changed a bit, God love him, in 30 years. He hasn't he just didn't really have any desire, not a lot of ambition. He was just happy with life. And then there was the issue of children.
Mm-hmm.
I had a yearning to be a mom. I felt like I was put on this earth to be a mom. I now have five adult humans who call me mom and two little rugrats who call me Granny Ingrid.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such part of my being. And we went into this. It's like, oh, but Ingrid, you knew he didn't want to have children. And I'm like, yes, but he knew that I did. And at the end of the day, he's like, well, darling, if I might feel differently when you bring them home from the hospital. And I'm like, So there was some core values that we just didn't really see eye to eye on. And then going into my second marriage, again, we didn't have those conversations, and some of those conversations are difficult conversations, and there can be a little confrontational about these core values about family. Yes, he wanted to have children, but we waited 7 years to have our daughter. Why was it so long? There are reasons. We didn't ever talk about money. We didn't ever really talk about lifestyle. His career became all consuming, and I'm from Australia. We moved from Australia here to California,
Mm,
and he launched headlong into his new career. He went from being a professor and an academic at a fabulous university in Melbourne to then all of a sudden be in the throes of Silicon Valley. And 30 years ago, at the height of the dot coms and all the startups, and I was left at home with no work permit, no green card. Obviously, that took about 5 years. And, tapping my fingers, going, well, what am I going to do? There's only so many episodes of Oprah that I can watch, and there's only so many gourmet dinners that I can cook. Didn't know a single person. I was really lonely. And then I had a husband who worked all the time, and we weren't ever really in sync with each other. From the get-go, looking back now, I'm like, there was just always something that didn't quite fit right.
mhm.
But we both persevered because we genuinely wanted this marriage and this partnership to work. And then we went on to have children, and then the children became the foundation of our relationship. It was all about the children. There wasn't, and I hear this story from women so often, particularly women who are, postmenopausal women in their 50s like us. It's like the motherhood becomes all consuming.
Right.
There's nothing else outside of that. And we really didn't have much to say to each other than how's work and what's going on with the kids. And even then, when it came to child rearing, we had very different ideas of and strategies for parenting. So there was that disconnect through almost 25 years. So, I
And you
mean,
have to
that.
be careful what you ask for because you
Mhm.
just might get it.
Yeah,
You just have to.
exactly, exactly. I mean, it wasn't a bad situation. There were definitely some years that were really difficult. Neither of us really did anything wrong. Neither of us are the bad guy. Neither of us are the victim. I think it ran its course. I think we both knew for the sort of last 10 years, which seems like a long time, but we had children. I had a very serious illness. We had small children. One of our kids is very tricky. And it's just all of those things, that fear of letting go and trying something different, because it's like the golden handcuffs. I needed his health insurance. We had small children. How would that work? It was all just so terrifying. And it wasn't until things really hit a crisis mode that I'm like, I choose myself. I am going to put my own oxygen mask on, and I am going to go and save myself, because I'm no good to anybody, let alone my husband and my children and my community, my family. I'm no good to anyone if I'm going to die a slow, horrible death, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, if I don't save myself first.
Absolutely. And again, people say it's being selfish. Well, it's time to be selfish because nobody's going to save you. It's like in a natural disaster. I used to work for the American Red Cross, and that was the first thing I would tell people. You're sitting there waiting on the Red Cross. We got millions of people, thousands of people in this disaster, Hurricane Katrina.
Oh,
Are
that
being,
was
people
horrendous.
are being evacuated by helicopter, and you gonna sit there on your loins and wait instead of being prepared, being proactive. And that's with life. We have to be proactive. I went to a meeting yesterday on metabolic disease.
Oh.
And if you have these four characteristics, if you have high blood pressure, you're overweight, you have high cholesterol, and you have diabetes, you have the metabolic syndrome. And they were talking about how you can reverse that.
Mhm.
And one of the things I'm telling you, Brains, it was not rocket science. It wasn't with a GLP-1, which helps, but that wasn't it. It was about community. It was about your mindset. It was about your diet. It was about getting some exercise. Shutting down the noise from the idiot box, pacing yourself, going outside, being around your friends. And I was like, wow, there's a place. Is it I forgot the name of it, but it's here in California. They're centurions. They're living 100 years old and just as happy.
Mhm.
They are just as happy. So now you have changed your life,
Yes.
um, and the things that you want to do. Tell us a little bit about where you are today as far as your goals and aspirations. Since some kids is grown.
Yeah, they are growing, but like I said, it's not a get out of jail free card. They're still bleeding me dry, and there's still, all the issues of navigating life as a young adult and getting out of the home. So my goal is to continue with my own path to health and wellness. That this is a long-term lifestyle, that it's every single day I wake up in the morning and I thank God for my health, because I came so close to dying. I can't even tell you how scary that was when my kids were like 5 and 7. I came very close to dying. My doctors did not expect me to live. So my own health and my own really high level of self-care is number one. And that is going to continue to be a goal, to continue to set and hold boundaries, to check in with those boundaries, particularly with adult children and with ex-husbands. We still co-parent, and
Right.
there's still issues. And to co-parent and to treat each other respectfully, to really nurture my new marriage, to really treat that with a lot of TLC and a lot of respect and a lot of honesty, which can be scary. But we find when we nip things in the bud, right from the get-go, that just continues to nurture and make our marriage stronger. We've both learnt the hard way, and we both had similar experiences. There were some big differences. So that's my goal, is to continue to nurture this health journey, which is lifelong. I have every intention of hitting 100. That's my intention.
Mhm.
That's my goal. I see myself when I'm 100 still doing a lot of the things that I'm doing, which is
And they're
travel.
good.
Travel, that's a number one thing for my husband and I. We love travel. I have itchy feet. Now that we've got grown children, it's a lot easier to go away for 2 weeks or a little bit longer. And
Mhm.
our children are okay. They might run out of food, but that's okay. That's what we can order pizza for. Um,
Absolutely.
but my other big goal is to continue to raise awareness about what you were just talking about metabolic syndrome, metabolic diseases, about type 2 diabetes specifically, and to really teach people about nutrition, because what you said is so true. What we eat is so important. That really is the foundation. You can't, outrun a bad diet. It's like, yes, the GLP-1s can be an extremely useful tool for some people, provided that they're used correctly, provided that you do the inner work. And that's really, really important. And I do work with people who are on that. And I, in fact, have tried them myself
Mhm.
because I was curious. And did they help with that? What you talked about, the
That food noise.
exactly, the food noise, and that voice inside your head that tries to sabotage you. I refer that to, and one of my mentors refers to it as the itty bitty shitty committee.
Ooh,
It's a good one,
absolutely.
isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I was with Dr. Lombora.
Mhm.
Lombora. He is number one in the world. And I was invited to this lecture. And it was just small, it was intimate. I got to ask him a lot of questions. And he was saying, that we are on the path to living longer, but it's your quality of life, not just longevity. My mother was tired. She was 91. And I said, Mama, I said, you can't leave me now. She said, yes, I can. She said, I'm tired. I said, you tired? She said, this work for me to do other places. And she said, could you imagine if I was the only person left? Wouldn't that be horrible?
Yeah.
I said, yeah. She said, I'm ready to take my seat on the throne. I'm ready to go on to glory. And that was her permission for me to stay and be okay with it.
Yeah.
She lived a great life, and I look back on my life. I lived a great life. She's a great mom. I'm a great mom. I pat myself on the back. I don't be waiting for somebody else. I'm a great wife. I'm a great friend. But I have to look at myself and I have to do the work every day. I've got to do the mirror reflection. What am I exuding out? What am I giving out to the world? Are they going to be receptive? Where do I need to make corrective action? Because we all need to make correction. The Reverend Al Sharpton saw me I was at one of his events and I was putting on some lipstick. And he was sitting there in the back and he looked at me and he said, well, baby, he said, that mirror is not just for reflection, it's also a place to make corrections. And I was like, wow. I said, my lipstick is a little crooked. But I understand what he's saying. You look at yourself and then you have to realize and accept what comes back at you.
Yeah.
So You said that you also had some challenges, with your children.
Yeah.
They, I was talking to another one of my guests. She has 7 children, and I said, I don't know how you juggle all those balls in the air, because you can have the same mother, same father, live in the same house, and have 7 different experiences.
Oh, absolutely. Night and day, starting from the pregnancies. Like what?
Yeah, yeah. So, how was it making the transition from your new husband and your second husband with the children?
That was really difficult. I'm not going to lie. They obviously they were really shocked. They didn't see it coming. I think perhaps my daughter might have, but my son certainly didn't really see it coming. And he was 13 at the time, 13, 14, when things really started to unravel, particularly with his sister, and everything was really tense. So there was initial shock. And because they were a little bit older, um, we had the agreement, look, we're not going to fight over holidays. If they want to spend a holiday with you or a weekend with me, we'll let them decide. And then the reality kind of kicked in, and they both freaked out, and they both decided that I was the villain in their story, and they decided to go no contact. Now,
Wow.
yeah, and I've done a lot of work on accepting this. The good the good news is that with my daughter, I've made a lot of progress. We've done a lot of work together. We've really reconciled, and we have a relationship now, one that I'm really proud of, and one that I aspired to, one that I really, desired, is that we have a relationship now based on mutual love, trust, and respect. That we listen to each other, that we speak our truth, but in a caring and loving and respectful way, and that we communicate our boundaries and we respect those boundaries. And she's turning into a beautiful, courageous, amazing young woman. And she's one of the strongest people I've ever met. And I'm proud to be her mama. I really am. I really am. Now my son's going through a different experience. Parental alienation is real, and I don't fault my ex on that. He was in a state of shock, it doesn't excuse his behavior, it explains it. I think there's a nuance there, is that it explains his behavior, and I'm trying to come from a place of empathy, you
Right,
know,
right.
because being angry and bitter and holding on to that isn't serving anyone. It really doesn't serve anyone. So I've really tried to kind of coach him and talk to him, and really reach out with that olive branch to say, you know what, we're still co-parents, we can still get along, we'll always be co-parents, we'll always have those 25 years together. And he's come a long way. I give him full credit that he brought our son across the finish line into adulthood, and he's now off at college, and we don't have any contact. It's been 3 years, and that's been really hard. And some days I get really down about it, and I really miss my little boy, but he's not a little boy anymore. That little boy,
Grown man. Yeah,
he's
he's a grown
gone.
man.
He's a man. He's at a different phase in his life. And it's a hard pill to swallow, April, but I've learned to really accept that and just hold space for him, and put that energy out there, to do a lot of meditation and prayer, and put that energy out. And I still send him care packages. I still drop gifts off for him. I still write him little note cards, just so that he knows I'm never going to give up on him. I'm never going to give up on us. I may be 100 and he'll finally come and see me. I will wait forever. I will go to the ends of the earth while still maintaining my emotional and spiritual and mental health.
And you have to, because it's not about you. We are a conduit. We are what the vessel comes through,
Mhm.
and it's not our journey. And you don't know what's going on. And I've had situations too where sometimes that's best, because the anxiety, the animosity, the combativeness, all of that can be more detrimental than just going ahead and finding your own way.
Yeah.
And there's days I know that he thinks of you, misses you, wants to pick up the phone. But once there's that gap, it's like when you have a falling out with one of your girlfriends, who's going to pick up the phone first? And then when the other person picks up the phone, are they going to be receptive? So a lot of things are contingent on other people, and our expectations of how they should respond. And as we said in the beginning of the conversation, it's about the response.
It is, and you really nailed it there, April. And one of the big, sort of my big philosophies, and something that I do teach others, is what is inside your circle of control.
Mhm.
Can we control the thoughts, words, actions, opinions, behaviors of other people? No, we can't control it any more than we can control the weather. So, my strategy is to focus on myself. Am I going to react to this or am I going to respond to this?
Mhm. And is it worth it? You have to weigh that out too. There's a cute little book out there, Brains. I don't even know if it's still in publication, but it's called Outside of My Hula Hoop.
Oh, I like that.
And I bet the book is maybe 30 pages at all. And it is just so spot on about, again, what is your circle of influence? Really, what is it that you can control and you can't control? And when you understand things that you can't control, you can't control. It's like parents and identifying with their children's sexuality now.
Yeah.
That's not in your control what they do with their ugly. It's not. I mean, you want them to lie to you. You want them to turn to drugs. You want them to turn to trust other people. Yes, it's a expectation that we have that we want them to live this linear lifestyle, but everything is different now. You look at people's finances now. They're going from fiat currency to crypto. They don't want to change. They don't want to see this is what I've known. This is this. Everything is evolving. Medications now. This
Oh, it's
these yeah these GL
GLP-1s
yes
and
they
uh-huh.
people find them, they think they're the miracle drug, but they're only going to be so good. You got to contribute to that. Even though the food noise has shut down, that doesn't mean that when it opens back up that you eat the whole bag of cookies.
Yeah,
You have
exactly.
to understand that this is a lifestyle. How did you get into the world of diabetes? Because that it's very convoluted, but there's so many people that are there now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of conflicting information and misinformation and a lot of the noise. It's like, how do you separate fact from fiction? But also, how do you know what's going to work for you? Because there's not one size fits all. One protocol may be perfect for one person, but a disaster for the other. So I got into all of this because imagine this, I reversed my own type 2 diabetes. And
Wow.
then pre-diabetes, I was right there at type 2 diabetes. I was right there. I wasn't like crazy on synthetic human insulin and taking medications, but I was right there. And it was very clear to me that if I didn't do something about it, my doctor was already saying, well, we might need to be looking at medications here. And I'm like, oh, hell to the no. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take this matter into my own hands. But this was part of a deeper and more complex metabolic disorder that I was diagnosed as having when I was 42, which is also like it was a very serious autoimmune disease and
Mm.
metabolic disorder was very, very serious. So I ended up taking a lot of medications. We're talking about there's medications and there's medications, and then you need to take medications for the side effects of those
Right,
medications, and
right,
then
right,
there's
right.
horrible side effects, and it gets to the point where, well, is the treatment just as bad or worse than the illness that that you need to be medicated for? And so I got to that point where my life was only a half life. I could barely function. I
Mm.
could still barely function. My initial autoimmune disease was in remission, but I still had other issues. I had chronic fatigue. I had constant infections. And yes, I gained a lot of weight, and I ended up with type 2 diabetes. And
What?
so it was through this whole healing process, my own healing process, and learning along the way how important lifestyle is, how important that mindset is, how important it is to switch off that itty bitty shitty committee and think, how am I talking to myself? Would I talk to my child the way I talk to myself?
Right,
Well, of
right,
course not. It's like we need empathy and kindness towards ourselves. But at the root of it all was the food. And to understand that our food sources and our food supply in this country is horrendous. The standard American diet or the SAD diet is responsible for the majority of metabolic issues. This is what I call diseases of civilization. They're self-inflicted, but here's the thing, it's not your fault for the most part. We don't know what we don't know, and most people I work with have no clue. They have no clue how to read a nutrition label. They have no clue about how important it is to source your food. Where does your food come from?
right.
They've got no idea about basic nutrition, so it's not really anybody's fault. And so I was learning all of this. I was like a sponge. I was doing workshops and I went back to coaching school, and then I went to Ayurveda school, which is the science of life from ancient India. I really studied long and hard to learn about nutrition, and people were coming to me, April. They're like, Ingrid, you look amazing. You're well. You're not sick anymore. And I'm like, how I showed up and how I continue to show up in the world. We talked a little bit about that. It just was just like night and day. And so people started to come to me and go, Ingrid, are you on some kind of diet? Do you have a group? Do you have a Facebook group? Do you have a community? Can you help me? Can you teach me? And that's how it all evolved. And looking back, it's like all those years of terrible illness and terrible treatments with horrible side effects and not knowing if this was ever going to get better. It was all worth something to me. At the end of the day, I'm like, what's the lesson? I can sit here and be a victim and complain about it, or I can say, what is the lesson here and how can I turn this into something really positive? And now this has become my life's work. This is my passion, is to teach others and support others to prevent them from having an experience like I did, to help prevent them from having to go down that road of having to take all these medicines that are so prolific and all of the big pharma, it's just lies upon lies upon lies. They don't tell you, the doctor doesn't say, well, have you changed your lifestyle? Have you changed your nutrition? No, here's a pill. And people are like, it's easy to take a pill because it's too hard. It's not too hard. My job is to really help people with that mindset.
Well, it's mindset mastery, and it's about being conscious brains. It's not being fixated on one thing, like the number on the scale. I had to
No.
break myself of that habit. So I got one of the new scales, the one that checks your body fat and
Yes.
the metabolic, because you're just looking at that number, and that's the two fish tacos and the beer I had.
Yeah, it's not the scale. I say, some people are obsessed with the scale, and if that's a tool that works for you and it's not, undermining your confidence and it's not derailing you, it can be a good tool for some people. But for the most part, the scale is not an accurate assessment or reflection of your overall health.
Right.
Because you're right, it could be, I'm on my period or I'm in perimenopause or menopause, and so hormones play a factor. It could be any number of different things. Water weight, maybe you're eating too much salt, maybe you're eating too much sugar, maybe you're eating too many processed foods, maybe you're not drinking enough water. There's all kinds of different factors that will affect that number on the scale. So I'm like, check your sleep. Are you sleeping better? Do you have more energy? Is your brain fog gone? Can you focus?
Let me tell
Are
you.
your clothes fitting better? Do you
Let
fit into those skinny jeans?
me bring you up on that. Is that I had to get a CPAP.
Oh,
My daughter said, "Mom, I thought there was a beaver in your bedroom." I said, "I heard that," and I was like, "Oh my God!" And so she said, and then another friend of mine, we were in a play, and I was rubbernecking, and it was early in the afternoon. But what really did it is when I started rubbernecking in the car.
oh,
And I talked to my doctor friend, and she says, "You've got the signs of sleep apnea." And I was like, "Nah, not me." I go, I have a sleep test. Oh, yes, I stopped breathing 23 times.
oh, that's serious.
It's serious. And I got one of these little CPAPs, and I said, "Oh, I don't want, who wants to be in the bed with this mask and this tube?" I'm laying up next to Mr. Magnificent. I got on my nice little lingerie or whatever. I'm not trying to look all like that. And he said, "You know what, baby?" He said, "I would rather wake up to you with that on your face than to wake up to you or not wake up to you at all." And I got it. I got the little pillow one that works. And let me tell you, I have to tell you, Ingrid, baby, that sleep is magical. When
Fantastic.
I take a nap, I put it on. I bought a little portable one that because your sleep is everything. Your circadian rhythm, that's one thing. Now I'm getting good sleep, but I have international clients, and like I know in Australia, I'm up when they're up, but
Yeah.
then I take a nap. So I don't have that consistent 8 hours. I may have four, break it up. But if you get that good even 6 to 8 hours of sleep, you wake up, you're energetic, you're renewed. And I also have a spiritual awakening between 3 and 5 every
Ah,
day.
that's
Okay,
interesting.
go on and look it up on YouTube. If you are a person that wakes up between 3 and 5, your brain is in theta and it absorbs so much more information. There's certain things that you shouldn't do. The first thing you do is get up and grab your device and head to the toilet.
Oh,
You're scrolling,
no.
you're looking at everybody's problems. You're starting your day looking at everybody else's problems while you're trying to eliminate your chi. Eating. I look at my food. I talk to my plate now and I say, oh, you're not as green as I'd like to see, or this, that, and the other. I love vegetables, but I had to get away from that. Carbs, sugar, bread, that was my jam.
Hmm.
I grew up
Same.
on potatoes. Every meal almost we had potato or rice, some kind of
Yep.
heavy starch. And now I say, okay, you can have spinach and Brussels sprouts. You don't just have to have one or the other. And our food, like you said, our food source. I went to Europe and I tasted a peach. I have never tasted a peach like that in my life. The juice just ran down my face. It was so big. It was like it looked at me like it was happy to see me.
Yeah.
And if you're going to spend money for food, you spend money on shoes, you spend money on recreation, go and get some. If you're a meat eater, go and get some grass-fed
Exactly.
pork or beef or lamb.
Buy organic. Buy organic. It makes a difference.
Okay, now you know what? I'm gonna tell you something on that. I
Okay.
don't know how I feel about the organic. Sometimes I think that it's a marketing strategy, like
Okay.
sugar-free, fat-free, da da
Oh,
da. Da,
that's
da.
rubbish. That's rubbish. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. And
The
so,
sugar-free fat is,
and you see the organic and you go, oh, okay, I just know. But do you really know? So what I did is I got a little garden in the back. I got my basil,
oh, yes.
I've got my tomatoes. I cultivate the soil. I pick the bugs off myself. I know that there's no uh
Chemical.
no chemicals on it, and it makes me feel good. And
Yeah.
again, the Europeans, Australians, Asians, they take their little basket and they go to the grocery store every 3 days, 4 days,
Yep.
eating a chicken that's been dead a week and a half before it gets to the market, and then you take it and you're going to freeze it.
Right. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, the difference between here in the United States and other countries, particularly in Europe, is that they don't spray the kind of chemicals. The glyphosate is poison, and that's why I like buy organic when you can. If you can, that's always recommended. If you can't, there's things you can do to mitigate the chemicals, to wash them correctly and
Now,
peel off the outer leaves.
what do you recommend for washing? I always at my sink, there's always vinegar and water there. And the apples. I'm not a big fan of a particular dishwashing soap, but if
Mhm.
I put a little dot on it, rub it and wash it, the apple is a totally different beast. That
It
all that wax, cucumbers, all
Oh,
that.
it's awful. That wax is horrible. There's nothing wrong with a vegetable peeler. There's nothing wrong with peeling your fruit and your produce. I mean, that's another way around it. And if you get vegetables like and fruits like avocados, well, the chemicals are not going to penetrate through that skin. It's the same with things like lettuce and cabbage. You can peel off the outer layers, and that really mitigates the amount of chemicals that you're going to consume. And that's the thing that really worries me the most is the chemicals because they are so damaging. They damage your cells, they damage your gut, they inflame you, they trigger metabolic dysfunction, they trigger autoimmune diseases, particularly with the grains. And talking about other countries in Europe, I went to Greece a couple of summers ago and I was eating the bread and the pastries. I overdid the sugar a little bit, but I did not have the same, you know, uh, digestive issues that I do with the grains here in the US. Even the organic ones, I still have to be careful. I don't eat them too much because, I have a history with GI issues, but also with my blood sugar. If I eat a bowl of rice, half a cup of cooked rice is enough to send my blood sugar through the roof. Now, it comes back down. I can regulate it now because I no longer have insulin resistance. So it comes down in about 2 hours, but that's not something that I want to do on a regular basis. I'll do it every now and then.
Even when you said the
Yeah.
sugar is different. I was in Thailand. They
Yes.
use um, they use cane sugar, but they also use palm sugar.
Mhm.
They don't use the processed sugar that I can't find it anywhere here. You got to order it online, and it tastes sweet, just enough to satisfy. But I had
A little
something.
bit go, yeah, a little bit goes a long way.
I had a piece of the Cheesecake Factory, and I tell you, I was in a food coma. I had to eat that piece of cheesecake 3 days. There was not just eating the one thing. So we put so much emphasis on that. And I had the nerve to do a sugar detox in Las Vegas. Um, it was very unpleasant. I don't know. I can't imagine what people that are on serious drugs go through. I had the headache. I was cranky. Yeah, I just not feel this. I didn't know that sugar was that powerful. Sugar is powerful.
It is. It's one of the most powerful addictive drugs, and it's pervasive. It's in all of our food. You go to any grocery store, and it doesn't matter which one it is, a big warehouse store or a little corner grocery store, you know, probably more than 80% of what's in on those shelves are ultra processed foods, often by large food manufacturers. And you look at the ingredients, and when you look at the ingredients and you look at the first five ingredients, several of them are sugar, and it doesn't say sugar. There's
Fructose and
yeah, corn syrup and all kinds of maltodextrin and other names for sugar. There's like 70, 80, 100 different names for sugar, and that's how the food manufacturers get away with it, slipping in there. And you look at those five ingredients, and the first ingredient is the one that weighs the most. So
right.
that's the ingredient that has the most volume in that product. And more often than not, it's sugar. And, the marketing on some of these foods is so clever. They'll say real fruit, gluten free, no.
Flavoring.
Yes, no sugar added, but there's a ton of sugar in there already, so you don't need to add extra sugar. But just because it says no added sugar doesn't mean that there's not a ton of sugar in there already. So we get sucked into the marketing. And most people are really they're trying to do the right thing. They're just being conned and they're uneducated. They don't know what they don't know. And that's my passion, is to help people understand.
In the older Black community, it's getting better now. But they say, "Ooh, I got a little taste of sugar." They think that it's just sugar. They don't understand how the carbohydrates turn into sugar, how that alcohol turns into sugar, how you are not breaking down the sugar. Well, I had a cousin that would give herself additional insulin because she liked the 32-ounce Slurpees. And after she'd have one, then she'd go back because she got a free refill. Well, I just give myself a little insulin. Then it started to deteriorate on her body. Long story short, she was amputated at her
Oh,
waist, both legs.
that's tragic.
And you cannot play with this stuff. When the doctor tells you something, go into Dr. Google and look at it. Everyone in my family has had diabetes. Every
That's
single, yes, it can be genetic too, but you can mitigate your risk,
mhm,
and you are what you eat, and you are who you hang around.
mhm.
So your circle of influence, the people that encourage you. I went to have breakfast with a friend of mine yesterday, and they said, "Do you want pancakes or toast?" I sure wanted them pancakes. I said, "But I'll have the toast, sourdough, one piece." And I asked her, "Can I taste your pancake?" All I needed was that pancake and
Right.
syrup, one little taste, and I was satisfied. It's about being satisfied. Um,
You're right. It's about satisfaction and not deprivation. It has
Absolutely.
to be sustainable, because if it's all about deprivation, if you rip that band-aid off too soon, and like you said about the sugar detox, it can be unpleasant and that can undermine your confidence. And then you go, what the heck, this is too hard. And then you continue on with these unhealthy, toxic habits that are just going to make you sick and end up like, getting your legs amputated, which is extreme, but it does happen a
Your,
lot.
your eyes, your vision is
Your
deteriorated, all
kidneys.
your kidneys, all of this kind of stuff. And it's no reversing that. It's no reversing it. I have
You
a friend
can't
that
grow a
said,
foot back. You
no,
can't grow your toes back.
no. I had a girlfriend that had a kidney transplant. And so
Oh,
now that the transplant is deteriorating. She's 65. You're not at the top of the list right now, baby girl. But again, did she change? No, I got a new kidney. I got something else new to abuse.
and 65 is young. 65 is still really young.
Yeah, okay. So now how are you, or what do you say to people to encourage them and keep them focused outside of all of this? Because people go, oh yeah, you're going to say all the scare tactics and all this kind of stuff, but what do you say to your clients that you work with?
I'm like, what's your why?
Mm,
What is your why? What is your motivation? How will your life look different when you decide to make these changes? What is your life going to look like? And I get so many great answers like, I want to be able to get on a plane and not use the extender belt. And I want to go and visit my grandchildren and chase them around the park and take them to the beach. I want to be able to have that quality of life. Like you said, we're living longer, but what is the quality of our health? And I'm like, well, we're living longer, but we're dying slower.
mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
know, and so it's like, what is your why? How will your life be different? What is your life going to, can you imagine what your life is going to be in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years? And I'm like, you know what? The time is going to pass anyway. What are you waiting for? This is
Exactly.
what we've got here and now. So really dig deep. And what is your true motivation? And most people say they want to be there for their children. They want to be there for their grandchildren. They want to walk their daughter down the aisle. They want to be there for the birth of their grandchildren. They want to have that quality of life as we age at 50, 60, 70, as we then get into the grandparent stage. And I have two little girls who call me Granny Ingrid. I want to be there for them. I want to see them graduate from high school.
Is it ever too late? Now, you may not be able to reverse,
Right.
but sustaining, maintaining, and um, just working out and finding a quality of life, is it ever too late to start that?
No, I don't believe it is. And even if you're at the stage where you're having limbs amputated, you can still always make the changes. You can still fix your nutrition. I would, um, kind of guess that those people who are, needing shots in their eyes and going on dialysis and getting, having neuropathy, I'm probably not far off in saying their nutrition is leaves a lot to be desired. That you can always change your nutrition. You can always mitigate the results. You can always work towards lowering your A1C hemoglobin so that your blood sugar is going down. There are tools you can have. You can test your blood sugar with a blood sugar monitor or a continuous blood sugar monitor so that you have the tools to understand where you're at. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. Just because you've got neuropathy or having issues with your kidneys is not an excuse to just give up.
Right,
There's
right. And
always
throw
changes to
something in
be
there,
made.
brains. I'm giving a plug, and I normally don't plug, but I will. MyFitnessPal.com.
Yes. Love my Fitness Pal.
MyFitnessPal, and it's free. It's
Yes.
free to download. You can upgrade and do all this kind of other stuff if you want.
Don't need it.
But what I did was I started doing that, and it told me how many calories, and if I continued on that, I would lose this amount of weight, that amount of weight. But what was amazing is I would put a cheeseburger. And they have a cheeseburger from this fast food place, this fast food place, this fast food place. And if you made it at home, you can put the bacon, you can put the cheese, you can put the this, that, and the other. But when you make it at home, it is a substantial difference
Mhm.
than when you go to these fast Mackie places.
Yeah.
And I could see how much salt, how much sugar, how many calories. It lined it up for me. And I mean, it was like almost dialing for dollars. I was like, this is really great. And then you reward yourself. I give myself little stars like you used to get in elementary school.
Yep.
And if I complete a task, I give myself stars and I pay myself $5 a day. I just went in my piggy bank and it was a whole lot of money in there because why not reward myself? I would have taken that and went and got a gourmet coffee. I would have went and, I stopped meeting my friends at restaurants when we have meetings. Let's meet at the park. Let's take a bottle of water. Let's have a quick walk. Let's just sit and enjoy nature. You don't always have to be at the restaurant. Even if you are, in a hurry, you can pull over at a local park and enjoy the scenery. It clears your mind, the fresh air. You can really enjoy the conversation. You don't have to overtalk people. Plus, you don't have to pay the big tip and the exorbitant cost of these restaurants now. These restaurants, we went to Applebee's and had lunch. It was $80.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, and I had one cocktail, but it please for what I paid $20 for, I could have went and got me a fifth and come home and made drinks. So again, it's what you want to do, and you have to want to do it. Nobody can encourage you. No one can keep you consistent unless you're working with someone like Ingrid that is going to say, hey, look, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I'm here to support you. But I can't support a one-legged stool. You
No.
got to want to do it. You got to want to do it. And it's got to be a lifestyle change, especially over 50. You know,
Yes.
this is not where, okay, well, I did it because I'm going to my high school reunion. And then you go back to your same old ugly ways. And yes, extracting things are different, but exploring new things. I was at my girlfriend's house and she made me tofu scrambled eggs.
Oh,
They were delicious. And I was like, I wonder if my husband would go for this. She put the spinach in it. She put a little cornstarch. She put a little turmeric in it. It looked just like regular scrambled eggs, and it
right.
was delicious.
And what a great source of protein.
Yes, yeah,
Getting that protein in is so important for women.
it
Don't
was
eat
so
enough
good.
protein.
And, she made lamb. It was better than any restaurant we could go back and have seconds. So what you have to do, Brains, is really have to decide what you want.
Yes.
What you want. You shouldn't be forced into a situation. You shouldn't be forced to have to restrict something or you're going to die. You should say, hey, it's not a diet, it's a live it. I want
Mm-hmm.
to live. So, in closing, we want to talk a little bit about the contributions that you made to the anthologies and then tell us how to get in contact with you.
Thank you, April. Yes, my recent book was published just last month, and it was an international best-selling book. It's a anthology series. It was best-selling in the US, Australia, and Canada, which is very exciting. The anthology series is called In Her Own Words, Wise Woman Wisdom. And all of the contributing authors, and I did volume one and volume two is the one that just came out, is all about transformation. It's all about these really scary and challenging situations that women have been faced with and how they overcame these obstacles and came out of the other side with, grace and wisdom and all of the things. So that's available on Amazon.
Well, I want people to really take a look at it, have a consultation, give her a call. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
It's very important that at least you ask the questions. You can't say no one ever exposed you, no one ever told you this is something that is hoo-hoo. You have a point of reference, and that is so important. I want to ask you a couple fun questions. I don't want to forget to do that because this is my favorite part of the interview. Okay.
This whole interview has been fun, April.
Well, thank you. If I were to come to your house for
Mhm.
dinner, what are you serving me?
Oh, barbecue.
Well,
California cut of beef,
the thing they
tri-tip.
don't know how to tenderize it, and
Yes.
they make it too tough.
Exactly. Well, and I actually have a refrigerator here in my little she shed that is dedicated for dry aging beef. So
Ooh,
I will get the really thick cut ribeyes. I will salt them. I will put them in my special dry aging fridge for anywhere between a few days to a couple of weeks. I will throw them on the barbecue. I do all manner of steaks, but ribeye is my favorite. I'll do some filet mignon. We do the patties on a regular basis. We're a very meat-based family. My two boys love their meat. They don't eat a lot of vegetables. They've got their own little neurospicy quirks, which is fine. That's what you will get barbecue. You will get lamb chops. You will get sausage. You will get Italian sausage. You'll get brats. You'll get all of the spicy sausages. You will get meat, and some more meat barbecue.
all right, good. If you were an appliance in that same kitchen, what appliance would you be, Ingrid?
Oh, okay. So this is a fun one. I love my air fryer. I am addicted to my air fryer. Air fryers have come a long way, and they're a lot healthier in terms of the coatings that's on the racks and the trays and everything like that, and on the inside of the air fryers. Um, the one that I have is glass, and it comes in three different sizes. So I can have a little, if I'm doing a one serving, if I want to make a dessert, or if I've got like a little filet mignon or something like that, I can just use the little one. I love my air fryer. It's so easy. People say to me all the time, "Oh, but Coach Ingrid, I can't cook." And I'm like, "Can you drive a car?" Yes. Then you can put some.
The eggs, the ice cream, the ice for my cold water, the water, all of those things. So I think I would be the refrigerator. If you were a flower in the garden, what flower would you be?
A rose. I love roses. My father was an amazing gardener. He just had such a green thumb. And over the years, in all the different homes that we lived in, he had a rose garden. And I mean, his roses were beautiful. And when he passed,
Special needs child. I know that your husband that you married didn't have one, but had two. And you said that they are the jewels to understand that makes no mistakes and there is joy. There is no needs that he can do. And she had to accept that. Can you give someone a word of encouragement?
yeah, and I also have one neurospicy child of my own, a daughter. So I've got three. The advice, some slack. Be kind to yourself. Watch that off some slack and be kind to yourself. Exercise a really high level of self-care. And I don't mean going out and get a mani-pedi and a massage. I'm talking about that level of kindness and empathy you have towards yourself. I'm talking about asking for help from your spouse, your partner, your mom, your dad, your sister, your best, your psychiatrist, your support group. So like, I can't handle it. I see it as a gift. It's a gift. It's a privilege and a gift that I've been given this opportunity to be part of these really special boys' lives. And my daughter, I'm proud to be her mum. I'm proud to be her mum. I She is incredible human being.
Well, in closing, how do you want to be remembered? What do you want us to say about you?
That's great. I love that. What is your legacy question? I want to be remembered as that mom, that grandma, that nurturer, that person with a lot of empathy who who really was on a mission to educate and support and teach other people, but also by continuing until the day I die to be a lifelong learner, to continue to push those boundaries, to continue to go out there and have adventures. I'm the adventurer. I'm the fun one, but to also have that balance of being calm and being kind and understanding that sometimes it's better just to be silent.
All right. Well, we're going to take that and we're going to close with that. Brains, but I want you to speak up. I want you to speak through a megaphone when it comes to your health, when it comes to the things that you need to make you feel whole as an individual, to give you the encouragement to go outside and walk. You don't have to be, it doesn't have to be far. If you can walk from your house to the corner and back, then tomorrow you walk from your house to the corner to the house to the corner, then from the house to the corner to the hill to the house to the corner. Just move. Just do it. Don't overthink it. But do not deny yourself the opportunity. There's so much in life to see, so much to do, so much to share. Continue to do that. And you can learn a lot more here on The Edge. Go in and like, love, share, leave a comment, and subscribe. Like, love, share, and subscribe. You are the hottest place on the planet. We've got over 2,000 episodes. We are movers and shakers. We got people like Ingrid, the other collaborators in her anthology, and a whole host of other wonderful things. Not the negative stuff on the idiot box, okay, that you pay for. This you didn't pay for, but I'm hoping you're paying attention. Thank you so much, Ingrid. You are the best.
Thank you, April, and thank you, Brains.
All right, keep it moving.